One of the top questions that I've received in 2020 is how do I film myself at home? And how do I film myself at home without having to buy all kinds of very expensive equipment or bring in a video team? Well, in this tutorial, we're going to talk about how to film yourself at home using some things you probably already have around the house and how to make yourself look and sound great on camera. Hello, my friends. Welcome to Word Made Digital Tutorials. I'm your host, Joanna LaFleur, and these tutorials are coming to you week after week, helping you Christian and ministry leaders lead and communicate the best news in the world in the digital age. And so we hope these tutorials are helpful to you. We hope you would like, share, subscribe, and tell other people that we are doing these because they're brought to you by Compassion Canada and the Canadian Centre for Christian Charities. We've partnered with Word Made Digital in order to make these possible, to get them in front of you and to train you up in this important work that you're doing. Now in this tutorial, it's a question that I get asked all the time is how do you even film yourself at home, and what do you wear, and what kind of lighting do you need, and mics and sound equipment and all the stuff. There's so much gear that might go into it, but I want to break it down into using stuff that you may already have around the house. I had the opportunity to film some training on this for Danielle Strickland's team that I'm a part of. Danielle Strickland is a speaker, an author, social justice advocate, and in normal times she has been someone who's traveled around the world every week speaking to tens of thousands of people. She's a professional communicator, but now she's, like many of us, working from home, trying to film herself at home, and we filmed some content. You can see it up here on my screen, and I want to offer that to you as a step-by-step guide of how you too can film yourself at home. Hi, my friends. My name is Joanna LaFleur. You are in my living room. Welcome to Toronto, Canada. This is my home, and probably also where you are right now. You're watching on a phone, a computer, a tablet somewhere. And the world has changed, right? And so I wanted to take this opportunity with you to share a little bit about what the pivot looks like and how you can film in your home great talks, meaningful content for your audience with stuff you may already own and some stuff you may want to upgrade. So every organization in the world right now has become kind of like a startup feel. Whether you're the largest organizations, the big multi-billion dollar companies, or you're just like a small entrepreneur or a small ministry trying to get off the ground, everybody is trying to pivot right now. I'm just picturing like on the show Friends where they got the couch and they're trying to go up the stairs, pivot, pivot, pivot. That's what everybody's doing right now. Everyone is trying to pivot and figure out how to turn a corner in a whole new world, this social distancing post-COVID-19 thing, and how it has affected even, of course, the world of speaking. And so some of you are speakers already. Some of you are dreaming of growing your speaking more than it is already. And I wanted to encourage you with how to pivot and how to think about what it looks like to film at home. Every organization now, especially if you're an events-based organization, you've become a media distribution company. And I want you to think of yourself first in this pivot as a media distribution company. What that means is you're making content, media, and distributing it to the world. That media might be video, that media might be audio, that media might be just visuals, graphics and photography, and the media also, of course, could be written words. And so as a speaker, we have all of these tools accessible to us, even right in the palm of our hand, that we never would have had in a previous generation. And I want you to think of yourself as a speaker media distribution company. And that will help us begin to turn the conversation about where and how and why we communicate online in a meaningful way. I know a few years ago for myself, I really had to change my own thinking on this. I was working in a local church. I was preaching there on Sundays, whether to the main, congregation, a multi-site church congregation, or, in our young adults community, I was speaking regularly. I was speaking at, other events around Canada and the US. But those rooms, at its most for me, were hundreds or a few thousand people. And then I'd started a podcast. And I began to realize that every week my podcast was getting thousands of listens that I wasn't getting from a live stand in front of people kind of communication. Or if I posted a video on YouTube, even if it only had like a few hundred views, that's a few hundred more people hearing what I might be teaching or sharing about, communicating about, and an audience that I didn't have access to before. And it was a whole new world of opportunity that I just needed to open my eyes to. I encourage you to open your eyes and be open-minded to the opportunities you have as a ministry or media distribution company, because there is an amazing opportunity to have a meaningful connection with real people right from your home into the palm of their hand with the simple tools that you have at your disposal. So, how do you film a great talk at home? I am filming today on my iPhone, and I'm saying that because I want you to know that you can too. There's an amazing camera now right in the palm of your hand, and most of the time when we start talking about filming at home, the first thing we think of is cameras, but actually these days it's actually so good, the phone in most of our pockets, it really should be one of the last things that we think of. And certainly if you're thinking of upgrading or getting some more gear for yourself to do that media distribution from home, be a great communicator from home, I encourage you to put that lower on the list of priorities. The first thing I want you to think about is lighting. Now, I'm going to actually zoom out if I can. I think this is going to work. I think I can do it through my watch because I'm just filming myself here and showing you that you can film yourself too. I'm going to zoom out. Oh, that was zoom in. Look, I have lights here. There's one above, there's one here, and there's one here. 1, 2, 3-point lighting system. Now, I don't I don't show you those to say you have to use those, but this is a 3-point lighting system that I bought on Amazon for, I don't know, $80 or something. For all 3 of these lights, they came with the stands and they came with the light bulbs. And these are, if you notice, they were like a big white thing. They're called a soft box. A soft box literally means it's a box that softens the light. You don't need these though. The 2 most important things you need are, number 1, if you can film during the day, you just need natural light from a window. Now you want the light, the natural light, daylight from outside, to be here in front of you, coming onto your face. If it's behind you, we've all seen it on all those Zoom calls, right? If it's behind you, it's going to be dark. It's going to get, you're going to be in shadow. You want to make sure that your light source is in front of you. And often natural light is very complimenting, very beautiful. And like I'm trying to create, because I'm filming at nighttime with all these lights, a soft light. I've had to kind of fake it with these, but you could get a nice soft light with natural light in your home. Now, the problem for where I live is during the daytime, there's construction outside my house. So I need to film at night, and so I needed these. But if you also need extra light, you can use a light that's around your house. Maybe you have, like in your shed, your garage, like a light that might be used for like repairs, like a light to look in your car, like a big bright light, or a light that you would shine at your house on Christmas as a spotlight. You can buy one at like a Home Depot for, I don't know, $30 or something. If you got a light like that from your garage, or even you had a big, strong, high watt bulb in your house somewhere, like a lamp that you could bring over, and again, you want it here, pointing at your face to lighten up your face, it could make a big improvement in the kind of lighting you have. And even with a not very good camera, when you have great lighting, it brings out your best. So the thing you would want to do if you weren't using natural light or these softbox kinds of things like I have, if you're using light, like an artificial light in your home, I encourage you to find, like from the dollar store, get a white shower curtain, or maybe you have like white tissue paper, or even a thin white sheet if it was very thin. And what you want to do is put that in front of, you can hang it or kind of drape it somehow in front of the light, so that it softens the light. So the same effect that I've had from these lights I zoomed out and showed you, you can have that from a light in your own house. And I've seen even people who are pros use white plastic dollar store shower curtains in front of lights, and it looks really nice. Now, I have a 3-point system because basically you go 10 and 2 and above you. I'm not a lighting expert in that sense, so I've done my best with what I know. It's not perfect. I'm sure there's some weird shadow on my face, but it is what it is. The next thing I want you to think about is sound. As you can see, I have a lapel mic. I actually borrowed this one from Danielle Strickland. You can buy a lapel mic that plugs directly into your iPhone or your smartphone for even just like 20 bucks online. I encourage you, if you're going to invest in something like a microphone like this, doesn't have to cost a ton. You do often get what you pay for. Usually the higher priced mics are a little bit better. But for not too much money in an investment, you can get a great mic that keeps the audio right near you, which allows you to put the camera right farther away, so I can move back and I can move forward and I can arrange myself. I could even have a few cameras going and keep myself at a distance from the camera, so it's not sort of just all double chin. That said, I usually, because as I said, I borrowed this mic myself, I often use what's called a Rode video mic, and I have it here. I'll show it to you. This mic is what I usually attach to the top of my iPhone with just a little attachment. So this mic is what it looks like. It's called it's a mini shotgun mic. Literally, it picks up directly what's in front of it, like a shotgun going right at the sound. And this is called a dead cat because it kind of looks like a dead cat. And those are great if you're moving around a lot. The lapel mic is great if you're standing solitary, but if you were wanting to do more vlog style teaching and storytelling, that can be really powerful. And you can just you can do like a vlogger, you put it on a tripod, you have the mic and you spin it around. That mic I think was about $100. But all to say, if you don't have a mic, I encourage you to think about what the sound in the room is like. So you can do a simple clap test, clap, clap, and see how much it reverberates. How much does it echo around the room? Even if you do have a mic, the more you can muffle the sound with things like there's a carpet underneath your feet, or there's curtains in the room, there's couch and fabric. Sometimes people think of these big, beautiful sets like in a big hall, but the reality is those are really hard to get great filming in because the audio, it can just echo everywhere and you sound like you're in a tunnel or underwater or something. So I encourage you to be in a space that can soak up some of the sound, and that, even if you don't have a mic, will make a big difference. Related to that too, if you have fabric around the house outside of the view of the camera, you could hang it up. It can look like a mess. Nobody has to see what it looks like. You could hang it up on frames or on coat stands or whatever. You could get big blankets and start to surround yourself. If you don't have a mic, make almost like a little sound booth for yourself outside of the eye of the camera to kind of have the best sound possible in a not so ideal situation. The next thing I wanted to highlight to you is the video itself. So for me, it's the camera in my pocket. I have the iPhone 11, which is the latest camera from Apple. But there are so many cameras these days, and even a lot of the older iPhones, I don't know what phone you have, but a lot of phones, if you have the right lighting and the right sound, the quality of the video that a phone can get is actually pretty amazing. And so I encourage you to try out the phone that you already have before worrying about having to upgrade and get a lot of fancy gear and have to worry about lenses and then learning how to use a camera like a DSLR. You can, and there's some I could recommend if you were interested, but I encourage you to just start with what you have, and you'd be surprised at how far you get. I don't know if you know Carey Nieuwhof. He's a Christian communicator, and the latest course that he released was entirely shot on the same iPhone that I have. So that's an encouragement to me as I grow in my own speaking, that you can just use the product in your pocket. Now, of course, you're going to need a tripod or something. I mean, you can just have it lean against something, but if you're looking to invest in something, a little tripod you can get for, again, like 20 bucks on Amazon. You get a small tripod that you hold in your hand, so like a selfie stick kind of style, or a GorillaPod that has 3 legs that can go together or separate like a tripod, a monopod or a tripod in one. Or, I'm using right now an actual cheap tripod, just a simple one Nothing heavy duty because it's only holding the weight of a phone, nothing like a big fancy camera. And I encourage you also to film horizontally for most things instead of vertically, because for most things that we do, this would be the better viewing. You want to film in the highest quality at about 30 frames per second. If you can control that on your phone, I'm filming at 30 frames per second, and I think I'm filming in 4K if all is going as planned. So that's what you need to know about the cameras. Really, I'm just trying to say, use what you have. In terms of visuals, I don't have the perfect setup for this because I'm just using my makeshift living room, but I encourage you to go online and see how people set up their spaces and what you like and what you don't like. As you watch other people who are doing this from home, take note of what's distracting or what really is effective. I encourage you to have a simple, clean background. But if you can get like a little light, something behind, like a desk lamp or something, or even a candle, sometimes it can provide depth and warmth. You'll see in a lot of people who do vlogging that they have a light behind them, not to light themselves, but to light the room in a kind of a cozy and warm way that creates depth. But beyond that, I encourage you to have as simple a set as you can. If all you have is a white wall in your house, that's okay. For the more distracting the background, even with me with all these pictures behind, the more it can take away from you and your words and what you want to do. So when we're saying not taking away from ourselves, let's talk about body language, another significant thing. First of all, I hope I'm doing it myself. We want to have your shoulders back. I also encourage you when you're filming, if you can, stand up instead of sit. I'm seeing so many people who are filming themselves and doing talks from home sitting down. It's okay, but for a lot of people, it lowers your energy immediately. And then not only does it lower your energy level, you start to slouch. And so suddenly you become a little bit of a curve. And so if you stand up, it immediately raises your energy, keeps you focused, and allows you to really present, especially as women, we get too curled in and it's kind of like a mess in here. So we wanna stand up as straight as we can, and it brings like a warmth, an openness, and I think also a confidence to what we're doing. Also, we want to think about smiling. I hope I'm smiling at you as often as I can. You want to talk to that lens like it's someone you know. You might even want to put a little post-it note smiley face below the lens just to remind you that you're talking to a person. And so we want to interact with this as if it was a face, as if it was a person that we could smile and laugh and engage with. Use your face to bring warmth and to bring connection to your audience. And also, it's so much harder when you're at home to not lose your energy. So smiling and standing can really help with that. And use your hands. I can't help but use my hands, but sometimes when people get on camera, you get really nervous and awkward and your hands are in your pocket or something. I encourage you to have your hands out and to use them naturally. Hopefully not wave them wildly, but to use them naturally as you might if you were in front of people, to again increase your energy, articulate a point, and to invite people to engage in with what you're saying. Also, we want to be confident in general. I mean, the number one way you're confident is, of course, you're prepared. You have a sense of where your talk is going and you know how it's going to end. I encourage you to be prepared, and that means you get off of your notes as much as possible to make that connection, that meaningful eye contact with your audience. We want you to do that as much as possible. If you were Danielle Strickland, you would be saying no notes at all. It's harder for me with this long list of things to go through. I didn't want to miss any of this technical stuff, so I'm definitely relying on my notes a little bit. But I encourage you as much as possible to get away from your notes. I wish I even had a stand so that I could use both my hands to engage with you a bit more, but I just don't have one in my home setup. And finally, I encourage you about clothing. I think a lot of us can be quite casual in what we're doing at home. It depends on your audience. You know, you want to think of your audience in terms of how formal or informal you can be. But I encourage you, whichever your audience, especially for women, to think about wearing in your clothing a structured jacket. Something like a leather jacket, a denim jacket, a blazer, something that has a little bit of collar and shape to it. I say that because women are naturally, we're more rounded than men in our body shape. And so because of that, we can sometimes be lost in the camera because it's a two-dimensional image. So if you wear something that has a bit of structure to it, it helps actually to square you out a little bit. It's the same reason why typically, you know, women who are on talk shows and news broadcasters and things like that will wear a blazer or a jacket. It's not just for formality, it's actually because it creates a nice silhouette of you on camera. So a cardigan, not as great for your silhouette on camera as it would be if you're wearing something structured, whether that's formal structure like a blazer or something like that, or casual like a leather jacket or a denim or something like that. And in terms of camera, you always want to think about having no patterns, if at all possible, in your clothes, because the camera is having trouble focusing. It doesn't know where to focus. If there's tiny little dots or little stripes, encourage you, if you can, to wear plain things without logos, and that helps you look just your best on camera. Finally, the last thing is, like me, maybe you're noticing this with me, I encourage you to watch the reflection on your glasses. Sometimes you don't realize that no one can see your eyes when you're talking, and I hope you can see my eyes while I'm speaking, but it can be very distracting and break the connection with your audience if you're not not able to see your eyes. So if that's a problem for you and you can take your glasses off, that might help. It might be as simple as that if you can speak without your glasses, or you may want to think about the next pair you get having a bit of an anti-glare reflection coating on them. All right, that's all for me about this. I hope this super practical little talk has helped you. If you want to talk about specific gear that you might want for your setup, happy to talk to you. And also, YouTube is a fantastic resource if you're looking for what's the best lapel mic, what's the best lights to buy, what's the best tripod. If you're not sure where to start, me or YouTube can be your guide. Thanks everyone, and have a great time filming yourself at home, because you are a ministry and media production company. I hope you found that content helpful for you. I'm going to link down below a PDF with more information all about how to film yourself at home. A huge thank you to Compassion Canada for being one of the sponsors that makes these videos possible. Compassion Canada is doing amazing work in the global community right now to work with children and their families through the local church around the world in developing nations who are in a total crisis right now. The ripple effects out of COVID-19 are significant. So one of the ways that you can get involved and be the church is go to compassion.ca/gifts. And at this holiday time of year, there's all kinds of needs to give gifts. Why not give something that really makes a difference in the life of somebody else? You can see all kinds of opportunities there. Thanks also to the Canadian Centre for Christian Charities. They have 3,300 members and more across the country. And really, they're all about being an arm for your ministry, an arm that you may not have. So they do legal work, and they help with board governance, they help with HR, they help with financial issues, they help with all kinds of things that you may not already have the skill set for on your team. So I encourage you to check it out and see what membership at 4Cs is all about. Thanks so much for watching this tutorial. We come to you week after week now with new content. We hope that's helpful to you. Like, subscribe, share, tell somebody else about these tutorials. Share this video with someone you know who's filming themselves at home, and they might benefit from this kind of content. See you next week with another tutorial from Word Made Digital.